It bills itself as the only true global rental car company in nearly 150 countries. But tonight, Hertz is under fire from lawmakers on Capitol Hill over practices that left some customers in handcuffs. Investigations into Hertz from our correspondent Rich McHugh have revealed a troubling pattern that Hertz has filed police reports for stolen rental cars that weren't actually stolen at all. And that has allegedly led to arrests and, in some cases, jail time for innocent customers. Hundreds of people are now suing Hertz over accusations of mental and emotional distress. And now a whistleblower is shedding light on what's going on behind the scenes at Hertz that could be saving them millions of dollars. Here's Rich McHugh with exclusive reporting tonight.
Highline and Meridian on cue. I've got eyes on the suspect.
It's 11 p.m., May 2021. Oklahoma police are investigating a report of a stolen car.
Sir, are you in that Nissan with the...
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, put that back for me.
Yes, sir.
I'm just detaining you, okay? You're not under arrest.
The officer puts the man in handcuffs.
I ran the tag showing that it's stolen. If that's not the case, then we're going to talk about that, okay? And you'll get out of those handcuffs, all right?
The man tells the officer he's former law enforcement.
Former law enforcement officer also.
Okay. They are saying that it's a stolen plate.
The man tells the officer he had rented his car just a few hours earlier from Hertz. And there must be some mistake. What the officer doesn't realize is that the man he just handcuffed and put in his police cruiser is indeed former law enforcement who spent 20 years as a federal agent undercover. For that reason, we have agreed not to name him.
I'm thinking to myself, this can't be happening. And I said, officer, I'll be happy to go down there with you and speak to the folks there. They have my copy of my driver's license, the rental records, everything's right there.
You had just rented the car, right?
I rented the car about 7:20 p.m. that evening. It wasn't until about 11 o'clock that evening is when he put me under arrest. I said, officer, that's my reservation, has my name on it. He says, I can take you to Oklahoma City tonight, Oklahoma County Jail. It's not a good place to be.
An hour passes and more police arrive.
The other officer comes back that he was working with and says, hey, apparently that car, he didn't steal it. That car was reported stolen in California. It just wasn't cleared or something's going on with it, but he didn't steal that car. And then he comes back to me and goes, well, he says, apparently I'm not taking you to jail tonight. However, he says, you still could get arrested again tonight.
So they released you and told you, but heads up, you might be arrested again if you're pulled over?
Yes, sir. Correct.
That must have struck you as slightly crazy?
Absolutely. I thought this is insanity,
The former agent returned the car the next morning, and Hertz refunded his money. He is one of hundreds who are suing Hertz for mental and emotional damages, who say they were falsely arrested, even jailed, because Hertz filed police reports saying the cars they rented legitimately were stolen. Julius Burnside was arrested and spent 7 months in jail before a Georgia court, after looking at all the evidence, ruled that Burnside had in fact paid for his rental, and they dismissed the case entirely.
Everything was dismissed, overturned. I cried. No.
7 months is a long time to sit in jail for something that you did not do.
Daniel Stokes knows the issue firsthand. He worked for Hertz for 11 years, from 1996 till 2007. And he was a branch and city manager in charge of 24 different Hertz locations.
Daniel, why do you feel compelled to speak now?
I don't know, it just frustrated me because being a city manager and knowing what the processes were and learning more about what actually happens to the people, quite honestly, it pissed me off that knowing that it was still going on.
Does it surprise you that this is still continuing?
That is the biggest surprise.
In your position, in your experience, the way Hertz is managing this current process is wrong. Is that right?
In my opinion, it is not only wrong, but I don't see how it's legal.
Stokes says Hertz should not be involving police in most of these cases, but instead a collections company.
Hertz is actually using the police department as a repo company and the court system as a collection company. And in many of these cases, the car's already been returned, restitution has been paid, everything's been done. And it's after the fact that people are getting arrested. That's pretty jarring to a person's life.
Hertz did not respond to our request for comment regarding Stokes' claims, but in a statement they tell NewsNation, the vast majority of these cases involve renters who are many weeks or even months overdue returning vehicles and who stopped communicating with us well beyond the scheduled due date. Francis Malfi is an attorney representing over 250 Hertz customers suing the company over false arrest. We caught up with him on Capitol Hill as 2 senators have now asked for congressional investigation.
Hertz made it clear that unless a court or Congress makes them change their ways, they're not going to do so. And that's why we've met with many congressional offices and committees to get broad support on both sides of the aisle.
The former federal agent we spoke with says that's exactly what's needed.
If the country knew how our taxpayer dollars and our police system is being used, I promise you, I'm sure more legislators will probably get involved in stopping this.
Now, Daniel Stokes, the former Hertz employee you just heard from in this piece, when I asked him why he came forward, he said, look, I realized the severity of the problem when this actually happened to me. And he says he was out on medical leave. He had a Hertz car. He was ultimately arrested and prosecuted for embezzlement and ultimately fired as a result of it. He says he's coming forward now because he has nothing to gain except for goodwill in telling people about this.
It's just unbelievable. And seeing that police body cam footage really puts you in their position, gives you the perspective of what that must be like, that surprise arrest. How many customers are we talking about here? How prevalent is this?
Rutabaga, you might be shocked at how many we're talking about. So this is a number that Hertz was trying to protect from coming out. A judge recently ruled that they have to release this information. And it turns out that in the past 5 years, each year they've reported ultimately, or they've filed over 3,000 different police reports on customers. It's just kind of an alarming number.
Yeah, and U.S. lawmakers now getting involved, as you've been reporting. What now? What are they saying?
Well, they're asking for Congress and the White House to investigate and to intervene. Basically, that this is this shouldn't be happening, and it's something that I think there's a lot of congressional support. I was just there yesterday and talking to the attorney there, and he said he's hearing from a lot of different congressmen and senators on the issue.
And you've been hearing from victims, and their stories are terrifying.
They're absolutely terrifying. I mean, I played a glimpse of one of the stories. Someone who spent 7 months in prison, and ultimately they ruled that a Georgia court overturned it and say you're free to go. This is a guy whose life has just been altered, and he's emotionally in shambles because of it. It's just, I think people need to see a resolution to this soon.
Wow. Well, great reporting, Rich McHugh. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.